Subsonic 300 Blackout. So much fun. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I don't have very many guns that are solely for plinking, but this is one of them. This is a 16-inch Ruger American. And I bought it specifically to shoot as quiet as it can with subsonic ammunition and a suppressor. I've had a subsonic load worked up for quite a long time for my 10.5-inch AR, but that load that's subsonic in the shorter barrel is not subsonic in the 16-inch barrel. So I needed to work up a different load. Let's go into the reloading bench and we'll talk about that load just a little bit. I have already done all of the legwork for this load. A friend of mine was here visiting the other day and we took some time that we had to get a subsonic load for the Ruger American dialed in. So today we're going to be talking about two different subsonic loads for two different guns. You guys that have watched the channel for a while have seen my 10.5-inch AR in 300 Blackout and probably also the 16-inch Ruger American. The subsonic load that I have been using in the Ruger American is 12.3 grains of CFE black, the Berry's 220 grain bullet, and any small rifle primer. That load is subsonic in the 10.5-inch 300 Blackout, an average velocity of right around 1,000 feet per second, but it's supersonic out of the 16-inch barrel, and I'll demonstrate that in a little bit here. I could have certainly just reduced the charge weight with CFE black to get down to a supersonic load for a 16-inch barrel, but with an AR, you want a load that generates enough gas to work the bolt. In the 16-inch bolt gun, the goal is specifically to get a subsonic load that's as quiet as possible. To do that, we want to have a round that is both subsonic and has as small of gas volume as possible. There's a whole bunch of powders that I could have used for that. A bunch of different pistol powders. H110 is one of them, Winchester 296. The one I chose to use was a 6.5 grain charge of CFE pistol. And I tested a few different charges, but 6.5 grains worked out really well. Got an average velocity just over 1,000 feet per second and was noticeably quieter than a subsonic load with Lil Gun powder, which is what we were messing around with the other day. The Lil Gun generates a little more gas than CFE pistol, and it was just a tad louder in our testing. So again, the subsonic load that I've gone with for the 16-inch Ruger American is 6.5 grains of CFE pistol, the Winchester number 41 primer, again, just about any small rifle primer will do, the Berry's 220 grain bullet, and I've got new Starline brass that I'm using right now, just about out of my new stuff and about to clean all my brass, but new brass is what we're going through for now. Talking about actual data to go on, the Hornady manual has a bunch of data for a few different powders. It did not have data for CFE pistol. I kind of made that up on the fly, but I knew that a similar charge of Unique is a subsonic 300 Blackout that's been used quite a bit. I thought it was worth a try, and I've had no problems with it at all. We shot about 30 rounds of this load the other day just for fun, and it was a blast. Shot really well out of this gun and didn't have any problems whatsoever. So let's get out to the range and test these out. All right, back out on the range here, and we're gonna do some shooting. So what makes a load subsonic? Subsonic just means that the bullet is traveling below the speed of sound. Now, the speed of sound at sea level is around 760 miles an hour or 1,100 feet per second in terms that shooters use. So let me flip on the chronograph and we'll do some shooting with the loads I was just telling you about inside. All right, I've got the Garmin Zero chronograph set to subsonic rifle loads. Let's take a shot. This is the 6.5 grain load of CFE pistol, and we'll see what kind of speeds we're getting. 981. And I'm just shooting into the dirt here so that you can hear the noise. 996. 984. I'll shoot a piece of steel with this one. And 978, comfortably below the speed of sound. I'm gonna put on some hearing protection here just because the gas coming out of the port of the AR is a little bit loud sometimes. And we'll see what the 12.5 grain load of CFE Black is shooting at. $10.68, $10.79, so I could probably slow this one up a little bit. I think I said 12.5 grains also. This is 12.3. We'll shoot steel with that one, and 10.83. So I could slow that one back a little bit to make it a little quieter, but it still sounds pretty good. So just to get an idea here, I'm gonna fire a couple rounds with the 12.5 grain load of CFE Black in the 16-inch barrel. Okay, that one was 10.67. That one was 11.18. I need to clean this thing, it's getting a little sticky. Ah, there was a supersonic crack for sure, and that was 11.70. That one might have been subsonic, 10.75. So you can see that load is kind of right on the borderline for the 16-inch barrel, and some shots are going over the speed of sound, so it was nicer to reduce that a little bit. I could cut that CFE Black load down a little bit so that it works good for both, but again, I wanted the lower gas volume and a little bit quieter sound signature from the bolt gun. Let's shoot the 6.5 grain charge of CFE pistol through the AR and see what happens. I do apologize, you guys are looking at this today from the dumb side of the receiver. The sun is over here, so we won't get the best picture from the ejection port side, but I'm gonna move the camera over to that side just for these shots so that hopefully we can see what does or doesn't happen with the brass here. Okay, that was nice and quiet and 10.27, but it didn't eject. The wind is awfully strong today, and it just blew my target camera and my chronograph tripod over. You'll notice the wind being strong is kind of a theme out here where I live. I wonder why that shot was faster out of the 10.5-inch barrel than it is out of the 16. Try that one more time. Again, fairly quiet and 1,008 feet per second. And it didn't eject. Now we should be on to a CFE Black load. And that one was actually supersonic even out of this. I think I need to dial my AR load in just a little bit better to get all of those shots supersonic or subsonic, because as you can tell, that CFE Black load is not the most consistent for velocity. Yeah, we're at 11.02. Yeah, that one was 10.23 and subsonic. 11.09 on the border. And that was 11.12. So you can see that those CFE Black charges are all over the place. Huh, I'm gonna need to work on that a little bit. Anyway, the moral of the story is shooting a low gas charge through the bolt action is a heck of a lot quieter. You could hear just how much louder the impact on steel was there than the gunshot itself. So, you guys can see that I definitely need to knock down the charge weight on the load for the AR and get those all subsonic as well. When I tested it the first time, it was through an optical chronograph, and I probably wasn't getting very good results, not near as consistent as this, but I should have probably dialed in to sound level like I did with this load. But hopefully that gives you guys just a little bit of an idea of how I load different subsonic loads for different barrel lengths and action types. Thank you guys so much for watching. Y'all have a good one.